Good morning, Anne.
Good morning, James.
And good morning, everybody. As always, hopefully you are having a good weekend, a good week, whenever it is that you are listening. So here we are again, Anne.
Once more.
Once more. Are you happy to begin?
I am, yes.
Brilliant. Well, where would you like to start this morning?
One day of our week this week.
Yeah, I had a feeling you may start there. Okay, over to you.
So, on Friday morning, Thursday morning.
Yeah, waking up on Friday morning.
Waking up on Friday morning.
Going to bed on Thursday night.
Yes.
And waking on Friday morning.
Waking up on Friday morning. I'd like to walk you through what actually happened, because it's important, because this is happening to people all the time, and just to let you know, this sort of thing happens to us as well. Right. So when we're talking, we do talk from experience.
Yeah.
And I think this may help, but I hope it helps other people how we dealt with it.
Okay. So
what happened is I got up on Friday morning, and just to put a little tail into it, my mornings are very, very regimentated.
Right. Okay.
Really regimentated.
Yeah.
So I wake up at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I go downstairs and I make my porridge, and then I go back to bed and work on Facebook and the things that I have to post on for the Circle of Love and things like that.
Right.
And that is my morning, every morning, 7 days a week. But this morning, for some reason, because I had somebody coming to see me at 10 o'clock, I thought, I'm not going to have my breakfast in bed. I'm going to go downstairs, put the washing in so I can get it out on this beautiful day before the person comes who I'm seeing.
Right.
And I put the washing in, came back out, which is in the garage, by the way. Came back out of the garage and noticed in the conservatory there was a drawer open.
Yep.
So I thought, why is that drawer open? That's odd. And then walked through into the lounge, and there were 2 drawers open in another unit, small, very small drawers. And they were the ones where James puts his keys for his car and his wallet and things like that when he comes in.
Yes, so I live here also, and I'm in my room upstairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I shout up to him, have you been down in the night? Because everything was just perfect, was all right in the house. Have you been down in the night? But he's just had a new car. So my first thought was, oh goodness me, the car's gone. So I shout. So he came running down, obviously.
Right. I did.
He came running down, faster than he'd ever run down before, and said the car's gone.
Yeah.
So
it had.
What I'm saying is, you can say the disappointment in your car.
So the house had been burgled.
Yes.
And they had taken my car keys, both sets of my car keys. I have recently changed my car, and it was a new car, and it lasted about 2 weeks. Hopefully it is now being found. Fingers crossed, and everybody cross your fingers and toes for me. But yes, and your handbag had been taken outside and rummaged through, and they had also taken your purse and money.
Yes.
And bits and bobs. And it seemed to be very forensic in terms of they knew exactly what they were doing, and they'd been in and they'd been out. I suspect strongly that they came for the new car. That's what I suspect, because there was very little touched or moved in the house at all. And
by chance, my handbag, because it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago, and I had Marks and Spencer's vouchers in my purse to spend, which I hadn't spent, and one from Christmas, which I hadn't spent.
Yeah.
So I was very disappointed, because my daughter said to me, you have to come out on Wednesday this week and spend that money. You've got to get it spent. And I went out with her and still didn't spend it. So I was very annoyed with myself that I hadn't spent this money.
Yep.
But all my credit cards and everything, and this will happen to other people who've been burgled. What I'm trying to say, unless you've been burgled, you don't realise what a process it is. That you have to get in touch with everybody. You have to cancel all your cards. You've got to try and think what's in your purse. And ladies, you know how much you keep in your purse.
Yeah.
And lots of it is precious, some things in ladies' purses. So, and then the police had to come. So what I'd like to say is that quite quickly, I had a police lady here.
Well, we called the police first of all.
Yes.
So if you're going to sort of
It happened
outlay
to
the
you.
story, yeah. So
Yes.
we called the police pretty much 10 minutes after
Yes.
discovering that the house had been burgled. And between us, we spoke to the gentleman police officer over the phone who recorded all of it and then sent over a crime reference number and said some people hopefully would be coming round shortly. I went to work. I was fortunate enough to get to work by other means, feeling head spinning, as I'm sure you were feeling as well, Anne, and all of you listening. If anything like this has happened to you, you have about 300 thoughts all at once.
Yeah.
And you can't quite concentrate on anything. And even the most simple of tasks, things are not quite clicking, are they?
No.
You're not in your groove. So everything seems to be going wrong.
Yes.
So mind spinning, tummy churning. I managed to get myself to work whilst waiting for my car insurance
Yes.
telephone line to open up so I could call up and let them know and whether or not start a claim. And it turned out, get my words out, it turned out once it opened I could, start a claim with them and get all the information together. And then subsequently, whilst I was at work, this is where the police turned up. Is that right, Anne?
The police turned up, yes.
Yeah.
But in the midst of all this, before the police lady comes, suddenly the realisation, which, believe it or not, isn't there straight away.
Right.
The realisation comes that you've been in bed.
Yeah.
And somebody's been in your house downstairs.
Yeah.
Going through your drawers and taking the keys, going out through the back and then taking the car. And it seems an impossibility that you don't wake up. You don't.
Yeah. And it's just, in some ways, I've been weighing it up all week, well, for the rest of the week. Maybe it was a blessing.
Yes.
It's difficult to know what you'd want in that situation. I'm sure all of you listening have thought about it, and hopefully it hasn't happened, but maybe it has happened to you. Whether or not you want to wake up and what that would lead to. Is it better that if someone's determined to come to your house and break in and take something, that they just do it?
Yes.
Or is it better to wake up and try and deter them? What would happen if that did happen?
Yes.
If that makes sense, what would be the outcome? And that maybe is a bit more scary. I don't know.
It is scary.
So maybe it was a blessing that you didn't wake up.
It was a blessing,
you were in your room, I was in my room. We didn't wake up.
So I think then this police lady arrived, she stood on the step, and she said to me, am I allowed to come in? Which surprised me, really. She said, am I allowed to come in? Could I please come in?
Right.
And then asked me if I had a dog, because obviously she was scared of dogs.
Okay.
So I said, no, I don't have a dog. And she came in, and she was this is why the police have got some bad raps these days, haven't they? People talk about
they get a lot of flack.
They do get a lot of flack. And I must say, she was so polite when she came in, but she was lovely.
So this is the police officer who came...
Forensics,
right. Okay.
Forensics.
Yeah. So I wasn't here at this point.
So this was forensics.
Yeah.
So she then came in and she had to ask me what had happened, and I showed her where they'd got in. She asked me, could she use her equipment? She didn't do anything without asking my permission.
Right.
Could I use my equipment? It is going to make a mess. It will be dirty. It will come off with baby wipes.
Right.
Because she also put powder on the floor to see if there were any footprints.
Yeah.
It's quite a procedure.
Yeah.
Then she has special lights which she shines on everything. I'm watching her. Then we went outside and we were trying to find out how they got into the back, which is very enclosed, where they'd come over. But we couldn't actually see at that time. We had to just surmise where they'd come over. But she was saying the fence isn't very high. And then I said to her, well... And then she said to me, everything looks different to me. I can't tell because I'm only 5 foot.
Well, surely it would look higher if you're only 5 foot.
Yeah, but she wasn't saying that.
Yeah.
I think she was just looking and then looking up and thinking she was taller than she was, to be honest.
Right. I did go out yesterday and have a look, and from the outside looking in, the fence is very, very tall. I think from the inside, the ground is slightly raised.
Yes.
The patio on the inside, down the side of your house, and
Yes,
it's slightly
it's a
raised.
7 foot fence.
So it feels like you're more raised if you stood on the inside of the fence. but definitely from the outside.
Yes.
It's not just, it's a 7-foot fence with a footing,
Yes.
concrete footing, so it's taller than that.
Yes.
It's very, very high. But if you were determined to get over it, it's not impossible. With a leg up, a step ladder, jumping on a bin, a car, a rock, anything.
No.
Anything that could give you any kind of leg
Yes.
up, you can get yourself up and over it.
Yeah, and so it was obvious that whoever had done it was very professional. The way they'd done it, was
Absolutely.
professional.
I mean, the way that they entered with the lock, they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yes.
And it was very, very forensic and focused.
Yes.
And the police officers that I spoke to, when describing it, they made it
Yes.
clear that it's professionals. People know what they're doing and how to do it. And if
Yes.
they're determined to get in, it doesn't matter really what the lock is. They can find a way.
And then the lady said to me she was only 5 foot, and I said to her, I thought you had
Yeah.
to be a certain height to be in the police force.
Yeah.
And she said, yes, but they're so short staffed now, they've scrapped it.
Yeah, pardon
So-
the pun. Yeah, so short-staffed.
Yeah. So I think the thing is
Yeah.
that she was very, very pleasant lady.
Yeah.
You know, she made comments on some pictures that I had in my house
Yeah.
about like children's pictures.
So it was personable.
It was very, very
It was
personable.
it was a human
Yes.
being, somebody who came out who was
Yes.
human. I'm stating the absolute obvious, but often we forget that, don't we? We can
Yes.
objectify, roles in society, and police officers, men and women, are stereotyped
Yes.
in the police force as
Yes.
I don't know, corrupt or male misogynistic or
Yes.
racist. I don't know. There's all kinds
Yes.
of stereotypes, and sometimes with justification.
Yes.
But there are many, many, many really good public servants, aren't there? Many,
Yes, there
many.
are. And I said to her,
Yeah.
you know, do you like your job? Do you like this job? And she said,
Yeah.
I love this job. She said, I go into many houses.
Yeah.
And she said, we stereotype
Stereotyped, yeah.
people. She
Yeah.
said, so some houses are going in, and I expect
Yeah.
it to
Hostility.
be very... No, she said, I expect it to be very pleasant.
Oh, right, okay. That's good news.
She said, I
Yeah.
expect them to... And she said, I get the opposite.
Ah, right, okay.
She said, whereas, you know, sometimes where I expect hostility, I don't get that. She said, so it's teaching me that I can't judge people until
Until you
I've
meet them.
actually met
Yeah,
them and been in the house.
Being in their presence. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
really good point. For all of us, that's a really good point.
So as she was, she did a very, very thorough job. And she said to me, as she was walking out, she said to me, I like you, thank you. And that really, in a way, upset me, because I thought,
People haven't always been kind to
people
her.
haven't always been kind to this lady.
You've got to remember as well that people are in stressful and distressing situations when somebody like her is coming out for forensics. And it could be a violent crime, it could be robbery.
Yes.
But it's high intensity, isn't it?
Yes.
And the people involved, no doubt, are very concerned for people, for possessions, for themselves.
Yes.
That doesn't justify unkindness
No,
or
it
anything
doesn't.
else. But maybe in the context, it makes a little bit more
Yes.
sense.
I
hope that's not the
yes,
case, but I sense that it is.
And it's 20 years ago,
Right,
I was burgled in this same house.
right.
And it happened on the anniversary of my husband's death, the first anniversary of my husband's death.
Right, okay.
That I was actually burgled. And I'd gone out to a hospice to see somebody who was in a hospice who was dying, who'd requested me to go. So I must have only been gone about half an hour at the most.
That's a very challenging day, isn't
Yeah.
it? I'm speaking for
yes.
you, but I can imagine
Yes.
as best I can. That was
And I came
extremely
back
challenging.
in with
Yeah.
the gentleman who'd given me a lift, because
Yeah.
my car was still on the drive.
Yeah.
And he'd given me a lift to this hospice to help his wife
So was this in the daytime?
in the daytime.
Right.
Brought me back, and he said to me when he brought me back, where's your car? And I said, what are you talking about? I hadn't even noticed my car had gone.
Right.
And he said, your car's gone. And then he said to me,
Wow.
you better come in with me.
Yeah.
He said, I'll come in with you because somebody might be in the house.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and I wasn't bothered about what anybody had taken, the car or anything, because
Yeah.
I had a dog.
Yeah.
And I was so scared about this dog in case they'd hurt it.
Yeah.
Oh, they'd let it out.
Yeah, I understand.
So I opened the lounge door and the dog came running out. So I gave a sigh of relief.
So everything was okay
And
from then on.
Yeah, and this is a situation in life that we have to look back on.
Yeah.
And he said to me, you better go upstairs and see if they might still be upstairs. And I went upstairs and he stayed downstairs. And I came down after and said, yes, they have, because they'd taken all my husband's watches and things. And I came downstairs and I said, yes, they have been upstairs. Why did you let me go up? He said, Anne, I just thought about going in, with you living on your own, I thought about going into a bedroom with you. And it wasn't appropriate. This is the thing how people think, isn't it, in those situations?
Well, people's minds work differently, don't they?
And when the same situation is when the policeman came round and took all the details about this, he said, would you like to write a statement that could be read out in court if we find your car and things?
Okay.
So I said, I don't know what you mean. You've taken my statement. He said, a personal statement just to say how you feel.
So this is the incident 20 years ago?
This is 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So I said, do you mean like shit?
Yeah.
And he said, you can say that if you want. So I said, no, I don't want to say that. She said, what do you want to say? I said, I want to say, thank you for not hurting my dog.
Oh.
And he said, are you for real? And I said, yeah, that is exactly how I feel. I said, my first thought was my dog all right? And this lady was the same as him.
Yeah.
She had empathy.
Yeah, that's the word, isn't it? Empathy.
Empathy. She had empathy, yes.
Well, I have empathy for you because I am, fingers crossed, awaiting the return of my vehicle. If not, I'll have to sort it out, or it's in the process of being sorted out. So I know somewhat how you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been unbelievably challenging for so many reasons, like you talk about the anniversary and the dog.
They'd
taken... really sorry about that.
Yes, okay. They'd taken everything in the house, the personal things of my husband, and put them all in my car and driven away with them.
The cheeky buggers. That's just... in the broad daylight as well.
In broad daylight. They'd come in at the side fence as well. And they'd taken everything. But they did even loaded my own car.
Need to get some laser beams or something.
Yeah.
Some sort of James
I've
Bond
had
stuff.
advice today, so it will be well protected from today.
Yeah.
So in the afternoon, I know this sounds a long time, but I think people listening should be aware of this because you don't, to be honest, your mind goes blank. You don't quite know what you're doing. Your mind is blank.
That is exactly how I felt, and to be honest, still feel a bit like it's a blur, and you think so many things all at once. It's very difficult to concentrate. You're on high alert, and it's it's not almost, it's literally in some ways, but it's like a rug's been pulled from under you, and you can't quite get your bearings mentally, physically, and emotionally. It's a real swirling whirlwind of confusion and trying to work things out and concern. And like you said, it's personal as well. There's something very personal about somebody being in a personal space to you and taking something of yours. Yes. It's a violation, isn't it? It is a violation. Yes. To say it bluntly, it's a crime. Yes. It is a crime and it is illegal for a reason. Yes. And it feels very violating. So it's almost like a sort of an emotional, mental violence when somebody does something like that. It has an effect in another way.
It does, yes. So my purse has gone, so then I have to start ringing up banks and cancelling cards.
Yes.
There's all those sort of things. I had my birthday money in it, and I had gift cards that I'd got for my birthday, vouchers for my birthday in it. So it was, and all other cards like Costco and things like that. So this is why I'm saying this, is that you have to deal with all that sort of thing, that, finding out where the cards are and everything. But I think what I would like to say to people is that, please, if you hear them, don't go downstairs.
Right, that's your advice.
That's my advice, because...
It's difficult for me to even argue with it, because, who am I or you? I think you're right, Anne. I do think you're right. It's difficult. It's really difficult to know what you do.
If they hadn't found those keys, they may have come upstairs to get. Yeah. And we don't know what would have happened then.
You have to count. Well, you don't have to, but I suggest you count your blessings.
So
myself included. I'm talking about myself, definitely.
For yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that would be my advice. And then I had two policemen come in the afternoon, police, not forensics, police. Yeah. Who came to look round and went round the neighbours for CCTV.
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 Yeah.
They were going round the neighbours for that. So I feel very well looked after by the police.
That's a good place to be. I feel very well looked after by the police. I will feel ecstatic with the police if they turn up with my car. So I'm fingers crossed they are now working on it this very morning, this very weekend. And by the end of it, they will turn up and say, James, we've retrieved your car in full working order. I already know that it isn't because they've stripped the tracker from the back of it. It's one of these cars that has some sort of tracker that's, I don't know the technicalities of it, but you're able to see where the vehicle is, or you were, and they knew exactly what they were doing. 4 minutes after taking it, they'd stripped the tracker.
So the happy ending to the story is not James's, but it's mine.
Well, it might be soon, fingers crossed.
Not at this moment. Mine is at this moment. I got somebody on Facebook tried to find Anne Rogers.
Yeah.
It came up on Facebook. Somebody saw it and got in touch with me. I got in touch with the lady, and she'd actually, on a dog walk, found my purse and the tracker where it was. So James has been playing detective tonight. We went round to get the purse.
The other night.
The other night, rather. Yeah. So she'd put the tracker on the top of a high wall, my purse on the top of a high wall, took photographs, which is brilliant for us, and the tracker was still on the grass. So we've been able to retrieve my purse with my cards all still in it.
Yeah.
Not 1 penny is in it of money, but everything else is in it, I think. My driving licence is in it. So that is the good news from it, from me for the day. But if any of you see what kind of car is it that we're looking for on the road.
A Volkswagen T-Roc.
Yes.
Well, which was my new car, and hopefully still is my new car. Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
Do you know your number?
I don't know, not off the top of my head, no.
So yes, but it's a white one with a black roof. So
it's a white car with a black roof.
So if anybody sees one that's just sitting nicely saying, please take me to James Wood, let us know.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, and thank you. One way or another, I know that it will all work out well. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, and there was very little damage to the house, and
a very lovely friend has been and fixed the lock.
Absolutely.
So
I'm insured.
Secure the same
I've spoken
night.
to my insurance company, so it will sort itself. It is sorting itself out, and I absolutely know that things will be even better in terms of that car and other car. It's all going to be sorted, and you've retrieved your purse. You've cancelled the bank cards.
Yes.
And I'm sure in one way, shape, form or another, you may well get a windfall of money to get that back in some way, shape, form or another. We're due a slice of luck, aren't we, Anne?
Yes, we are.
We are definitely, after this week, due a slice of luck to balance this out. Good luck at that. And in the context of life and everything that's happening across the earth, we have so much to be grateful for. Genuinely.
So much.
And that's always important to remember. And I think that's a good place for us all to reflect upon as a final point of reflection, really, in terms of...
Yes, people waking up in Gaza and in Lebanon and places like that. And
in Iran and
no homes, nothing.
Absolutely. Haiti, Somalia,
yes.
All around the world, and people in the United Kingdom as well, in all manner of different situations and circumstances that we can't fathom. We never know what's going on in anyone's life, do we? No. We never know what experiences they have gone through and what they are going through, and we are all at times quick to judge. And when we learn more about each other, we see things in a different light, and that empathy that you spoke about towards the forensic police officer is so important in life, in all areas of our lives, where we see each other as human beings, and we may not agree with actions, and at times we really can't understand people's points of view, but it's so important. In fact, it's vital that we remember that it's humanity and that each individual is a member of humanity, and that we don't other and dehumanise people, because in such situations as that's when the most heinous and violent thoughts, words and actions come to light and actually come out into the world.
Yes.
And when people become segregated in their minds, us and them, and the rhetoric and words that flow from that about the other leads to actions that ever increase in violence, toxicity, hatred, and a real venom starts to seep into society and into humanity. And then on a mass level, wars can ensue, and genocide, and all manner of things that have happened through human history, and unfortunately in some ways are still happening today. And
I'd just like the good publicity for the police themselves.
Right, okay.
Because we've seen such a lot of bad publicity for them lately.
Yeah.
I know there's demonstrations
that's a really,
and things like that.
It's a really good point, Anne. Yeah.
And I think it's important that people need to know that if you're in the same situation as we've been in this week, that they have empathised.
Absolutely.
And they have shown compassion.
And if you are listening, thank you, Greater Manchester Police. And an even bigger thank you for when you return my new car. Yeah, thank you. No, everybody's doing their best. And I do think about it. You have to be so brave to decide to go into the police force for various reasons. It's not an easy thing to do.
No.
And thank you, because they are, in essence, public servants, and they're there to protect and serve, and they serve and protect by consent. And that's very important that we remember that in our country, and we value that, because not everywhere in the world has that. And it's important that when we still see that and we still experience that policing by consent, and we experience it as such, that we highlight it, that it is by consent, and the police are in service of the people.
Yes.
And thank you, police officers, and all members of the public services in various shapes for choosing to serve the public. And we should support each other.
Who picked my purse up.
Yes. And thank you to you, dog walker lady.
Because there was no phone number in it or anything.
Yeah.
She picked my purse up, puts it on Facebook.
Yeah, and took it upon herself to try and find you,
yes.
or get in touch with people who know you, which
yes.
is what happened.
And
a good human story about
in this world,
to restore some balance after a burglary. It restored some balance of goodness. Yes. And we don't know the situation of the burglars, do we? We don't know who they are, what's going on in their lives, what's motivating them, or what network or gang or who's pressuring them. We simply don't know the motives for any one or group of individuals to do it. It's not right, it shouldn't happen, and I'm very upset about it, and it does upset you. But there's always nuances and human complexities to every story. And it's important to remember that, I feel. I do.
It's the inconvenience it causes as much as anything else as well, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's
taught us a lot.
Absolutely. What a wonderful life learning situation for any of us. And it's so important that we if we're not careful, I think, situations like this that are happening every day across the world, they do spread a fear amongst people. And with each action that is against the nature of humanity, that weaves an insidious mistrust with people and services. So it is important, it's corrosive, and crime is corrosive, and it does corrode away at the goodness and the fabric of a human network that we call society, and that connected weave and web and warp that we all have together is corroded away if we let it. So it's very important that we reform those bonds, which is what you're talking about.
Yes.
The police were there, the insurance company are doing their job, and a neighbour who we didn't know, but a member of the community, acted in a communal way and brought some goodness back to the situation, no doubt led by the nose of the dog.
Yes.
And we have some goodness threaded through the story. And we're highlighting that, and that's a wonderful place to finish on, and to remind ourselves and to remind everybody that even in really challenging and upsetting situations, the kindness and the goodness of humanity can shine through.
Yes.
And it's not, well, it is whimsical, but it's not meaningless. In fact, when it happens and when you really feel that warmth of kindness, it's the most meaningful, and it's the most powerful, and it's reassuring, and it reaffirms and restates a faith in humanity, a faith in goodness.
Yes.
And that's we uphold that, as I'm sure you all do listening this morning.
So we can take the goodness out of it, or we can
Yeah.
take bitterness out of it and be bitter about it.
That's an absolutely
That's our choice.
perfect way of rounding it up.
Yes.
I agree. Let's choose to take the goodness out of it and acknowledge the aspects that we'd like to change, but from a position of goodness and gratefulness for the aspects that were helpful.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, there we go. An end to a podcast at the end of an eventful week. And I'm sure I will give you an update next week with even better news, fingers crossed.
I really hope so.
Yeah, so everybody cross your fingers and toes, say your prayers and your good wishes and all of that jazz. Anything and everything that helps. And thank you. I'm sure you will.
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Anne.
Okay.
I hope you all listening have a wonderful rest of your weekend, a wonderful week. And as always, we look forward to speaking with you again and being with you next week, next Sunday morning.
Bye.
Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.